Hey guys, my name's Louise and I'm a life coach and a heavy vehicle and plant mechanic trainer and assessor, and today we're going to talk about goal setting with anxiety. So I'm not a trained medical professional, psychologist, anything like that. This is purely based off my experiences and just a bit of professional development I've done along the way to then sharpen those skills. Before we get too far into it, how amazing is my shirt? I don't know how much you can see of it, but yes. I've got the balls. My brother got it for me for my birthday, so yeah, just pretty excited about it. Oh, goal setting with anxiety. So people who get anxious or have anxiety, when I get anxiety, I don't want to talk on behalf of everyone, but when I get anxiety, like sometimes I get anxious about being anxious about an event that is like later on. I don't know if you're anxious about being anxious and then you're anxious about that and blah, blah, blah. And then it just turns into this massive spiral and then you just can't function. That's what happens to me anyway. So for me, my anxiety levels really go up and down a lot. In previous videos I've mentioned I've got PMDD, so premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So where anxiety and depression kind of go up for 2 weeks before I get my period. And that's been happening for a while. Recently, so beginning of last year, that's when I really pinpointed that and I went to a doctor and was diagnosed. But anyway, so for me, like, I can be fine, like, generally speaking, absolutely fine for 2 weeks. So just out there smashing goals, setting big things. So, I do set like a big goal and then, you have all the steps to get there. But sometimes I can barely get out of bed. Like, getting out of bed and making myself breakfast sometimes seems like too much. Like, it's just like, no, I can't do it. And then you're like thinking about the big goals and you're like, shit, no. And then you just start to shut down. And for me, the way that I plan my day and the way that I think changes depending on how I'm feeling, which is something that I've really had to kind of work on and recognize that, some days I don't function as per normal. So what this looks like for me is some days I will literally just think about the next task. That is it. Like, this is the task that I'm doing. And once I've completed that task, then I'll think of the next task after that. I won't be like, by the end of the day, I need to get this done. Because if I'm thinking about having to get something done, then I don't do it because I'm so nervous about not getting it done. Whereas if I change my thinking to, this is what I'm focusing on now, then I find that I can really get myself into the zone a little bit more and the anxiety doesn't take over that much. On days where I'm feeling more anxious, I think of one task ahead. Days when I'm feeling fine, bigger picture, time slot for this, time slot for that, blah, blah, blah. But it's really just listening to my body, because when I'm on a roll, the anxiety kind of comes and it hits me a bit like a brick wall. And I try and keep doing what I've been doing, pushing through. But then it comes to a point where that's not possible anymore. My mind won't let that happen. It's just all these thoughts, and then it gets overwhelming, and then you just sometimes, before I kind of put in steps in place to recognize when I was feeling this way, it would just turn into not functioning and just not being able to do anything at all. Which, sometimes you do need to rest and just do nothing. But, sometimes, especially if you're working every day and you're expected to do work and all that kind of stuff, that expectation can really get to you as well. So I know when I recognize that I'm feeling anxious, I stop thinking about the big picture and just look at the next step. It's really helped me keep moving forward through that. If I hadn't put that steps in place, I would not have been as productive on those anxious days, and then I would have been anxious about not being productive and blah, blah, blah. But it did take time for me to recognize and be able to work out what works for me. So just being like, this is my task right now. That is it. No here nor there. No worrying about the future. No worry about what I'm saving for. No worrying about the bigger project. I'll save that for a day when I'm feeling good. And I do find that focusing on one task is kind of like a bit of a form of mindfulness almost. And I do know that, like for me, after focusing on that one task, I can generally come out better. So even if I spend an hour or two on one task in particular and not worry about anything, sometimes I do feel a lot better afterwards, and then I can keep going and the anxiety isn't there as much. But yeah, that's how I do it for me. I don't know if it'll work. Like, try things. If you're struggling with anxiety, try things. That's what I totally recommend. It's just a bit of a crazy world out there, and we just got to keep on giving it our best shot. Alright guys, if anyone wants a hand with putting any measures in place to smash through anxiety, if you're ready to smash your goals, if you are ready to totally own it, please DM me. I would love to have a chat with you. If you resonated with anything in this video, please let me know. And I will catch you guys next time.